Folks, welcome to the 8th year of swim run in the US in North America because we're talking about Canada tonight. And it's the first ever ÖTILLÖ Swimrun in Canada. And we're coming to you from, of all days, Canada National Day. So you can see my colleagues Aaron Pallion in his red shirt and Dale also in his red shirt, celebrating Canada Day up there in Squamish, not too far from Whistler. But yeah, welcome to the first time that ÖTILLÖ North America is here in the US and in Canada. Whistler, an epic venue, is going to kick things off. So what we're going to do tonight, we're just going to give you some expectations about what to expect this upcoming weekend. We're so excited to have you guys to kick off the 2024 season. Our partners over in Europe already have 2 races in the bag. They did their Uto race back in beginning of June. And then this past weekend, they did Engadine in Switzerland. So we're ready to level the playing field here in Canada. And so what we're going to do is Aaron's going to give an overview of the timeline. And Dale, who is our local race director who brought ÖTILLÖ to Canada, is going to give you just an idea of what to expect in Whistler, why Whistler, and then we're going to go through the course. So I'm Lars Finanger. I am one of the race directors for the North American Series. I'm joined by Aaron Pallion, who's calling in from Michigan. Aaron is our operations manager, race director extraordinaire. We all wear a lot of hats, but if you've had any customer service interactions with ÖTILLÖ this year and in past years, that's Aaron on the other end of that. He makes our races look great and operate smoothly. And Dale is the newest member of the team this year, and he is the one responsible, like I said, for bringing ÖTILLÖ to Canada and to Whistler. So, guys, I'd like to just jump in right away, and maybe Dale, you can let us know why Whistler, why Canada.
Hi, absolutely. So thanks, Aaron and Lars, for inviting me onto the call today. So everyone, my name's Dale Thiessen, and as Lars mentioned, I live in Whistler, British Columbia. I've been involved in multi-sport for, I guess, a few years. And a few years ago, I actually introduced or reintroduced Xterra Racing to Whistler, and now put on that event with a friend. And a couple of years ago, we had the idea of bringing on also a swim run event to Whistler. We thought the event location in Whistler would be an awesome place to do it. And so I reached out to Aaron and Lars for ÖTILLÖ, and we all agreed this was going to be a great year to do that in 2024. So I'll tell you a little bit about Whistler. If you haven't done your homework already, so Whistler is an internationally recognized tourism destination, both in the winter and in the summer. In the winter, it was the host of the 2010 Olympic Games. And in the summer, tourism actually exceeds the numbers that we get in the winter, which has been a big change over the last few years. But yeah, it's a busy, crowded, very popular place in the summer with a huge amount of activities to participate in. So a little bit more about Whistler. So we're about an hour and a half to 2 hours north of Vancouver International Airport. There are lots of travel options to get you up there. I'm sure you've looked at all of those. The village itself is very walkable, so you don't need a car to get around for most tourist activities. And that includes our event. Our event is about a 15 to 20-minute walk north of the village. It's also on a bus route. If you do have a car, there is a parking lot there at Spruce Grove Park where our event is located. Yeah, other than that, huge number of hotel options and food options, as you can imagine. If you have any other specific questions over the next few days, I can do my best to answer them if emails come my way, if you have specific questions about what to do or other activities as well. With that, I'm going to hand things over to Aaron.
Thanks, Dale. So if you've been to any of our events in the past, it's going to run pretty much the same with packet pickup. Hold on, this did not switch over. There we go. It's going to run pretty much the same as far as packet pickup goes. I'm going to share my screen here for a second, guys. Hold on one sec. Okay. You guys can see that, right? Okay. So this is, if you've done any of our races in the past years, we've had run sign up websites, and since becoming ÖTILLÖ, we have gone to their website and everything's hosted on that. So some of the details I'm going to go over on this are not on the website currently as we're showing them, but by the time you get this video, if you go to these pages, it should be updated. So just bear with me. I'm going to talk about some things that are on the old website, although I'm showing the new one, and that'll be updated. So easy enough. It's just ÖTILLÖSwimrun.com. Under races, go down to Whistler. And any details that are not on this main splash page here, there's a bunch of expandable menus down here. And like I said, a bunch of these areas that you're going to want that information for are not updated right now. I apologize for that. That will be done in the next 24 hours. Anything that's not down here that you have a question about can likely be answered by just clicking on the race distance here. Once you click on race details for any of those distances, a lot of these side menus will be the same. So I'm going to be adding pages to this and filling in information as we go. Packet pickup details is one of those. It's not really beyond schedule, which you can see here. It's not really even on there. But let me talk about packet pickup for a minute. So we are going to be at the Dale, it's called the Mountain Club, right?
That is correct. It's the Mountain Club in the Westin Hotel.
Okay, so that all the address and where that and how that is and what to expect there will be updated here. But just like every other race we have, 1 to 4 is our packet pickup time. Usually we split that apart. 1 to 2 is one distance, 2 to 3, and 3 to 4 is another. But since there's going to be somewhere between 125 and 150 people, you really can come anytime in there. I would recommend not coming right at 1 and not coming right at 4. Just kind of pick a time in between and you guys can come whenever you want for this race. If you're doing any of the other races, please stick to the time that we tell you to come based on the distance that you're in. But again, for this one, come whenever you want. If you're part of a team, we do recommend that you come with your teammate, although it's not mandatory anymore. If you have to come without them, you can pick up all the stuff for them. USA Triathlon was our sanctioning body for the US, but in Canada, it's Dale, it's Triathlon Canada?
Triathlon BC.
BC.
Triathlon BC. And so if you have a Triathlon BC membership, if you can bring it and show it to us, that would be great. And everybody else will get a 1-day Triathlon BC membership for race sanctioning that's already included within the price of the registration.
And that's already taken care of for you guys. But Dale, this is something I don't know actually. Do they stipulate that everyone has to be there or can someone else pick the packet up?
It's a really good question. I actually don't know the answer to that.
We're gonna roll
we
with.
can try and get.
Let's make it easy. Let's make it easy. Swim run's a team sport. Come with your teammate.
Yeah, it's not that hard,
Great.
guys. We're pretty relaxed about this. If you have any issues with that, please just email me and let us know. It's not that big a race. We can accommodate a few here and there if we have to. I'm going to send out some emails this week. Those emails will be everything from a QR code that you should bring with you on your phone that'll make packet pickup real easy. We scan that, pulls up all your information. It's going to be a reminder on the schedule for the race. It'll be some course map stuff, last minute volunteering. If you guys know anyone or you're going to bring some family that want to volunteer, we'd love that. Just maybe some rules for the race, some mandatory gear, which we'll go over in this as well. Just read all the emails. You'll get at least one a day for the next 3 or 4 days. Okay. And then a reminder about packet pickup will go out again on Saturday morning. So that's at the top of your inbox. But if you've done these races before, you know how laid back it is. It's like a trail running type environment, real relaxed, fun, and just no stress. If you haven't done one before and you've come from a stressful racing environment, you're going to love this. Okay. So just roll with it. So you're going to pick your packet up and we're going to assign your number there. If you're on a team, you're going to get a matching bib set. Each of you will have the same, it's singlet style bibs. We call them bibs. But they're like singlets that you wear. They're one size fits all. They might seem tight. They're going to loosen up during that swim. Wetsuits are mandatory. A number of you have rented those from us. You're going to have those on race, or not race morning, I'm sorry. You're going to have those packet pickup when you come to get it. If you chose to get yours race morning, as far as your entire packet, you can pick up your wetsuit then as well. Those will be available. And for those of you that chose to get your race packet on site, we will have those all pre-assigned in bags ready for you with your name written on it. We will email you and let you know exactly where that's going to be, but it'll be real near the race start, which is also where bag drops will be. We'll identify a spot. Even that morning, we'll just tell you where that's at. You drop your bag and it'll be there after the race because it is a common start and finish line. So as far as packet pickup goes, you're going to get your bib assigned, that number. Your bib number will not match your timing chip, which we will also give you there. Now, your timing chip number, when you get that at a different table, just a little bit down the line, when you get that, we will enter in your bib number so it matches your timing chip number. So even though they're not the same, they'll be linked so you won't have any issue there, okay? If you're a solo athlete, you will get a rest tube. Hold on, I've got one back here, guys. Hold on one second. These are a free rental for all solo athletes. They go around your waist. You barely know they're there. They've got a built-in whistle. You pull the ripcord. These turn into a big yellow inflatable instantly. Once you do that, that's going to be a signal that you need to be helped out of the water. Your race is effectively done at that point. But if you're pulling this, then you're probably in some trouble. So that's why we give those to solo. You're part of a team. You can wear this if you have one of your own or whatever you want to bring with you as a team. But we assume since you're on a team that you guys are looking out for each other and there's a little bit less of a risk there than there would be as a solo athlete. These are expected to be returned at the end along with your timing chip, along with your rental suit if you rented one of those. When you return your rental suits at the end, just something to put out there, please empty them out. There's a pocket which usually is full of garbage. Empty those out. We'll have a spot for those. You're going to return those at the end. Christine will be there. You can check those back in with her, but everything's right at the finish. We'll have a tub for your, you take your timing chip off, separate the Velcro from the timing chip. You put those in buckets, you put your wetsuit, you put your rest tube, and that's it. You're good to
Aaron,
go.
bibs this year also.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, guys. In the past, we've given you your bibs, but it's such an enormous amount of waste. We always get people asking, why don't you have us return these bibs? We don't really want these. So at the end, when you return everything else, whatever you have that you're returning, your bib, take that off. There'll be a separate bucket for those. We're going to wash the heck out of those, and we'll bring those to each event and reuse those. If for whatever reason you want as a souvenir, just let us know. We're okay letting go of one here or there, but we want to get a majority of those back. The swim caps are yours, obviously, to keep. And we're going to have, you're going to get a finisher medal this year at the finish, which is new. If you've done any of the European races, they're not the wooden ones you get at the finish there. We have these cool luggage tag medals that you can take the luggage tag off, and it has the race logo, and you can put those on your bags as you travel and collect those this year. So that's our finisher medal. That's how those are different. For the awards, we will have the same as they have over in Europe, the wooden awards medals that we will give out to top finishers there. And then at packet pickup, you will get your freebie item that you get from us, which is a long sleeve pullover hoodie with the race logo on that, along with some merch that you get that included, but there'll be some merch you can purchase as well. Anything from flasks to the silicone cups that you use at the water stops. We have a ton of stuff. We have sweatshirts and long sleeve shirts and just general logo stuff that you can buy that'll be there.
And
So,
Aaron, one cool thing, sorry to interrupt, but one cool thing that you guys get the first shake at this year. It's the very first time that we've ever had any ÖTILLÖ branding in North America. So you guys at Whistler get first crack at the new ÖTILLÖ merchandise.
and I know I'm talking fast, guys, but we're trying to make this short. Every year we run way over what we think. So I think that's really about it for packet pickup. We don't check the mandatory items, but Lars, do you want to go over that real quick? We assume that you guys are going to have that on you. If we see and have a reason to do a spot check on mandatory stuff in the field, we may do that at any time. Medical may do that. If you don't have it, that is a disqualification, but we trust adults are adults and you guys carry that limited stuff with you. So Lars, do you want to talk about it real quick?
Yeah, I mean, we have, so for those of you who have not done a swim run or an ÖTILLÖ swim run before, or an Odyssey or some variation of what we've done here in North America, first of all, welcome. We're super stoked to have you join us, whether it's from trail running or triathlon or Xterra, wherever you're coming in from. Thank you. We love having new athletes come in and experience swim run. So really the golden rule in swim run is, it was founded as a team sport. So teams of two who do everything together, swimming and running together. And so really the golden rule is to do the race together. So that means when you're out swimming, you really shouldn't be separated by more than 10 meters. And that's primarily for safety's sake, but also you should really be, you should be next to one another. If a teammate's dropping back, it's possibly because they could be in a point of difficulty. So you need to be cognizant of that and drop back as well. On the run, it's about 100 meters, although we really, you should be closer than that. And so that's one of the golden rules. The other golden rule is if you see any of your fellow competitors out there on the course having any difficulty, stop, ask them, are you okay? Just take care of each other out there. So I would say the only other golden rule is don't litter. And Dale is going to be able to tell us a little bit more about why specifically in Whistler you shouldn't litter. But no matter where you go and no matter where you race with us, littering, that's an instant disqualification. If we see that, you won't be invited back to any of our other races. We take that very, very seriously. Obviously, we know that sometimes stuff happens if you think you're shoving a gel into your back pocket and it fell and you didn't see it. We understand that sometimes things happen, but put it back in your jersey pocket, in your wetsuit pocket until you get to an aid station. Discard it there. If you're running up a trail and you see a gel packet that maybe a fellow athlete had dropped before, pick it up. What goes around comes around. Just take care of our environment out there. But Dale will let you know specifically why at Whistler it's even more important. So how that relates to gear, we really are trying to keep things as simple as possible. We've taken out like the compass rule, which was kind of one of those old grandfathered ÖTILLÖ rules out of the gates. But a tether. So one of the ways to keep together in swim run with your partner is by a tether. And that's typically like an elastic cord of sorts. You wear that around your race belt and you can attach your teammate to the other end of that. And that keeps you within, 5-6 feet, 3-5 meters of one another while you're swimming, so that the person in front doesn't have to constantly be looking back to see if you're attached. There's an example Aaron's holding up right there. Amazingly, that also works as a great neutralizer on the run as well. And so we highly, highly recommend having a tether. At some races like our Casco Bay race in Maine and others, we will actually make it mandatory for every team to have a tether with them. The reason for that is because those are, some big weather, some big currents can come in, and we want to be able to say mandatory tether just for safety's sake. That's not a mandatory thing here at this race, but we would highly, highly suggest you have a tether with you. Other than that, really, our safety bandage. So the safety bandage, this one I would say is a higher likelihood at Whistler. I was out there in May with Marcus Barton, who's one of our, who is the most experienced swim run athlete in the US and in North America, just doing a bit of a course recon. This is a son of a gun. It's a tough course. Dale has done a great job finding a very, very difficult course with some very technical terrain. And guess what? When you get out of a cold swim, 800 meter swim, a mile swim, you may be fumbling a little bit coming out, and until you find your legs and until your equilibrium sets again, and you may trip. You may find yourself on the ground on a root or something. So we want to have that safety bandage there in case you're away from medical, away from a race staff, and you just got to apply a bandage quick. So look, we do have a lot of, similar to Xterra, we do have a lot of people come across the line and they've got scrapes, bruises, etc., part of the game. But we want to have that there just in case you need to apply some kind of pressure to stop bleeding. So yeah, with that said, Aaron, I'll toss it back over to you. Just keep working through the schedule here.
Yeah, just a couple other things, guys, and I'm going to turn it over to Lars with the course and Dale with some other things. But as far as the mandatory gear goes, I always get the question, do I have to wear the cap you give me? Yes, you do. They are silicone caps. They'll keep you warm, but they're also color coded so we know which race you're in. So we'll have some extra ones at random water stops along the way in case you're split. You can always grab one if you need one. They won't be at every water stop. But yeah, wear the one you're given. The same goes with the bib. You do have to wear that. It does have to be on the outside of your wetsuit. When you get out of the water, if you take your wetsuit down and you wear it on your waist while you're running, then you do have to put your bib back on when you do that, and vice versa. When you get in the water, you put it back on the same way. The drinking cup that we gave you, because these are cupless races, we do have coolers of water and electrolyte water out there, but we do not supply cups. So we have the collapsible silicone cups, and we will have them available if you don't have one and you need one. But we found over the years, we've given out so many of these things that putting them in every bag is a huge waste as well. So I will have a stack of those on the table. If you do not have one and you need one for the race because it's the only way to get the water or the electrolytes, please grab one. I'm not going to remind you to do that probably. Just grab one if you need one. If you have the collapsible flasks, you can use those. We also have those for sale. Those are oftentimes a much better option, but we do not give those out if you need them. Those are for sale. I believe they're like $10, $12, but we have a lot of those for sale with the merch. So you can grab one of those or use your own if you have that. The rest tube I talked about, the timing chip. Thing about the timing chip, guys, is when you cross the line, if you're separated by whatever, you have to cross the line together. You can't just send the guy or woman with the timing chip sprinting up quarter mile ahead of you to get a better time. If you're a little bit apart, no big deal, but you have to be in the finish line shoot together. So if you're not, wait. And that goes for swimming too. And a problem we've run into in the past is that people that aren't tethered together, teams will separate by quite a bit in the water. We'll see one get out and just sit there on the shore. And oftentimes that starts a bit of a concern because this person's gotten out and waited 5-10 minutes for this other swimmer. And we don't know whether they're just far apart or whether something happened. That's never been the case. They've always come out. But if that happens to you even once, you need to tether together so that you stay together, because that is a concern in the swim. So keep that in mind, stay together, look out for each other. As far as mandatory stuff, Lars covered the rest. And as far as the schedule, looking back at the screen I'm sharing here, Saturday is real cut and dry. Sunday, we are going to change this, guys. Everything you see here on Sunday, and when you look at this again, this will be one of the updates you see. But everything here will move up by an hour, so you're going to get some extra sleep. So all courses, athletes arrive, park, line up, do what you need to do. That starts at 5:30, not 4:30. Anthem and announcements will start at 6:50, and all courses will start at 7 o'clock, not 6. Dale, Lars and I talked about that, but is there any issue with you on that?
Nope. I think we've planned for 7 a.m. Start.
For that.
It'll be great.
Okay, yeah. So that's great. A little bit extra time there. For post race, real quick before I kick it to Lars, so he doesn't have to come back to that. We're gonna have sandwiches, fresh sandwiches being made. Dale, do you want to talk real quick about that? Because I think you've gone over it a lot more than I have with them. Do you remember exactly what they're serving and what's going on there? And talk about the beer sponsor and just people you have.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have Whistler Cooks is coming out to provide sandwiches. There are a number of vegetarian, vegan, and meat selections. I think so. If you have specific dietary needs, should be taken care of. Post race, we'll also be hosting another good multi-sport athlete and friend of mine, who's going to be out with double decker ice cream as well, selling that on site. And we also have a beer sponsor, Phillips Brewing, which is based out of Victoria, British Columbia. Phillips Brewing will have a beer garden, and in Canada that's a little bit different because we're pretty serious about our alcohol. So we have a specific designated area in the start and finish area for a beer garden. We'll be serving alcoholic, so a couple of different types of beer, and then we'll also have non-alcoholic beer options. And Phillips Brewing also makes some root beer, so we'll have some pop on site as well at the finish line. So something for everybody there, I think, which will be great.
And I like how you said pop, Dale. I mean, from Michigan to
That's
Canada.
a good old. He's a Midwesterner at heart, Aaron.
There, there you go. And hey, we're serious in the U.S. about alcohol and beer too. Just we're not always fencing everyone in.
Do we? I don't know if we have any Australians on the start. They like their beer, but I will say, any Australian who's ever visited me, they've never heard of root beer before. So that's a travesty.
To be clear on that, guys, too, all of what he just mentioned is free of charge to the athletes. That's included. We take care of that for you. You just gotta. It's probably just going to be show your bib when you go up there, and they'll know you're part of the race. We've prepaid, and they're going to have all that ready. If you're a spectator, they will be selling that, and so just let them know you want to buy a plate or whatever, and they'll take care of you there. If you're a volunteer, when your shift's done, if you're on site, that's really easy. But if you're out on the course, when your shift's over, come on into the park there where the finish line is. You're gonna get a shirt just like this, and you can just show them this shirt, tell them you're a volunteer, and they will hook you up with a meal as well. So you get that meal and obviously this shirt. So that's what we have there. And Dale's going to be on the mic, rocking it all morning. So, all right, that is it as far as, real quick. Want to talk about Lars and Dale, whoever wants to chime in, when and where both the pre-race clinic is on Saturday to kind of get people wrapped around, get their heads wrapped around it. And then also the party that I know the Low Tide boys are throwing. Marcus is doing the clinic and Low Tide boys are doing it.
If you guys don't mind me jumping in, I apologize. I'm doing 6 things at once here because it's Canada Day and we're trying to get to some Canada Day celebrations. But quickly, a couple things that are happening in Whistler right around. So on Friday morning, that is the 5th, at Blueberry Docks, on deck at 6 a.m., the Triathlon Club, a local great group of people, typically swims. That'll be a 2 to 2.5K swim, probably chill, no drop swim. If you want to get a sense of what Alta Lake is like and you want to go check out part of the course, again, on deck at Blueberry Dock on Alta Lake at 6 a.m. on Friday. Friday evening, there's actually a free concert right in the center of town. If you just look up a free concert series in Whistler, you're going to find out about it. It's a good Canadian band called the Sheepdogs, which is playing. There'll be a couple of thousand people there. So if you want to go, get there early, set up put a blanket down, get some food, picnic, whatever. It'll be really fun on Friday night. Lars, I'll let you talk about Saturday. I know Sunday evening post race, I have been chatting with the Low Tide boys and Gibbons Life, who is a local company in Whistler who owns a number of restaurants and bars in Whistler. They have been generous enough to host us at one of their main establishments called Longhorns. It's at the base of Whistler Mountain. There is no better view from any place than the patio at Longhorns. It is until 10 p.m., also family friendly. So minors are allowed to be there until 10 p.m., after which it turns into it can be a pretty rowdy nightclub at times. And along with that, every single person will get emailed a code which allows you to be a 7-day member of the Gibbons Club. which allows you to take part in any of their bars and restaurants or activities in Whistler, which they own a bunch of, and you get a discount for each one of those. So you can enact that basically when you get into town and use it all week long before or after the race. It lasts for 7 days, but that'd be great. Lars, I'll give it to you.
What
Yeah,
time
Dale,
do you
that's a
start with the Low Tide Boys on the post?
yeah. Oh, post race. Dale, do you
Post
know
race,
that?
post race on Sunday. I think we said 5 p.m. if I'm correct.
Okay, and
They'll,
guys,
they'll have it. They'll have it on their. Go to their Instagram page at what is it, at the Low Tide Boys with the Z, or go to their website page. They'll have that. Aaron could also include that in an email.
and I'll add that to our schedule as well. Yeah.
And as far as the Saturday morning clinic that Envol Racing is going to be putting on, I would highly, highly recommend going to that. That is going to be led by Marcus Barton and his teammate Kavika. And those guys are both, they have the fastest time ever at the ÖTILLÖ World Championships. But don't be intimidated. These guys, like all of Swim Run, are so welcoming, so friendly. They share all of the tips, all of the tricks that you can have like the best race day possible. I mean, we've seen at all of our events just dozens and dozens of athletes who have never done a swim run before go to these pre-race clinics, and you're a different person the next day on race day. So if you want to have just a much, much better race day experience, highly recommend going to that. That's going to be Saturday, 11:30 local time at Spruce Grove Park, which is where our start finish is. So Saturday, 11:30 at Spruce Grove Park. And again, that's going to be put on by Envol Racing. So thank you, Marcus and Kavika and team, for doing that.
Lars, let me
Again,
jump in.
they're going to be going through tips, tricks, advice. They're going to go, it's going to be a short session where you're going to work on transitions. Marcus knows this course, so he'll be able to give you some, tips on what, maybe even how to pace, etc. So yeah, come ready in your swim run gear though for that.
Just to jump in on that, because I always get people showing up and asking questions about rental wetsuits, because quite a few of the people that rent wetsuits want to go to that clinic, and we haven't started packet pickup yet. We will be there starting load in at 10 a.m. at packet pickup, and like I said, I'll send you the address and all the specifics. But you can come in if you want. Just be patient because we won't have it all set up and done. But if you need to pick up your rental wetsuit only between like 10 and 11, I can get that for you so you can test it out during the swim clinic. And then you'll have that, and you just got to come back to packet pickup and get your stuff later.
Cool. So
Lars, you want to talk about the course, and I'll share the current map here.
yeah. So again, like I said, and I'm gonna probably defer to Dale for just the general overview of things, but I will say Marcus and I were out there in May and previewed this. Folks, you're in for a treat. This is an amazing course. Very technical running. The lakes are incredible, like the kind that you could just drink if you're thirsty. They're clear. It reminds me so much of the Orcas Island course. Just very clean water, lots of elevation on the run. The only suggestion I'm going to give is pace yourself, which means, I would leave energy in the tank for the second half of the race, because the real running starts the second half of the race. So just keep that in the back of your mind. If you feel good that first half, the real mofo is still to come. It gets harder and harder and harder near the end. So Dale picked an absolute doozy. You're going to have a great time. Aaron, I do have to take just one step back to that Saturday morning. It's not just Marcus. It's not just Kavika. Staffan Bjorklund, who is the ÖTILLÖ World Championships race director, he's coming back. He's coming back to the sport of swim run as an athlete after a bit of a break. And he's going to be participating and racing on race day with us. He's also going to be there on Saturday. So if you've ever had any ambitions to possibly race in Sweden at the World Championships, You're going to have the race director. And if you're a movie buff and watch that movie Arthur the King, the adventure racing movie with the cute dog that picks up the adventure racing team, Stefan was one of those 4 adventure racing teammates. So he can tell you all about Arthur the King and that experience as well. So yeah, Saturday, I think it's not going to be as exciting as Sunday, but it's going to be pretty exciting.
So Lars, do you want to, are there any, so first of all, guys, I just wanted to say this has changed a bunch of times, guys, and I know some of you have emailed me. Thanks for sticking that out with us. It's a new race. And if you've been part of any of our other first year races that we've done, you know that it's kind of a work in progress, especially the first year. So,
well, Aaron, you don't even have to apologize about this, guys. If you're coming from triathlon or if you're coming from a different sport, this is not triathlon. This is swim run, and you know we have unprecedented access sometimes to private property. You know, there are sometimes situations where we have to alter the course, just either whether it's due to private land or permits, or we think that a course is better and we didn't see it before. We reserve the last right to change the course. You follow our course markings, which we lay out very, very well. We call it heads up racing, which means you need to be looking for course signage out there on the course. We have plenty of guidance signs, which are tiny orange flags that we lay every couple hundred yards or so to let you know you're going on the right track. Intersections that are distinctive intersections where you're being faced with a choice. We have yard signs with coroplast yard signs with arrows pointing. And then swim exits, we have 10-foot, what is that, 3-meter tall teardrop flags that tell you where to exit those swims. We have a robust amount of course signage out there, which we spend the better part of 2-3 days laying out for you. So bottom line is you follow the course that we lay out for you. So ultimately that is the course map. Having said that, I want to just push this over to Dale because he came up with an amazing race course, and we're really, really excited to get a swimming and running tour of Whistler.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks a lot again. So I think it's important what Lars said with regard to heads up racing. Some of the areas that we will be running through in Whistler, you could literally come up to a trailhead and have 5 directions that you could go. One of them will be clearly marked and the other 4 will not. So it is important. Whistler has a vast network of road and off-road trails. And so that heads up racing is going to be super critical. One of the things that we mentioned earlier in this briefing was the bear aware. So I think Lars, when he and Marcus were actually up, I think they actually got a couple of pictures, 3 bears, in fact. So black bears are extremely common in the Whistler area. They are, for the most part, very benign. They are not aggressive. Unless you get in between a mother and its cubs or corner it in any other way. They're commonly seen on a day-to-day basis throughout the village, high tourism areas, on trails and paths. You will see bear scat around. I highly encourage you, we'll provide the link to go to Whistler's Bear Aware website and just familiarize yourself with that. But what that also means is it is critically important that no littering on any of the trails. Any type of food source that's left on trail becomes an attractant to those, and that's when those human interaction problems can potentially occur. Other than that, it's just really common sense with respect to wildlife. That is probably the only wildlife that you'll see. Whistler is also home to thousands and thousands of dogs. Most of them will be off leash. Most of them are incredibly friendly, but you will probably encounter those on beaches and trails throughout the day, and they're all wonderful. Other than that, the 3 courses. So we have an experience, a sprint, and a World Series course. All start and finish at Spruce Grove Park. So our beginning of the day is our end of the day. And with the experience course, we're going to get to experience 2 different lakes to swim in. I should just take a step back and say, so we have Lost Lake, we have Alta Lake, we have Alpha Lake, Nita Lake. All of those lakes will be approximately the same temperature. And I expect we're entering a warming phase here in Whistler this week, but at the same time, we have a lot of mountain glacier runoff happening. Those temperatures are going to be 16 to 17 degrees Celsius. Very comfortable and warm for swimming. And I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. Sorry, guys.
That's 60, that's low to mid 60s, which is, Dale, that is swim run perfect water temperature.
It's pretty. Green Lake, which all of the athletes will either swim at the south end of Green Lake or at the north end of Green Lake, will be colder. It's the one that looks, turquoise, icy blue. That lake, I haven't been in it myself. I'll jump in it this week. But I suspect at this time of the year, it's going to be about 12 degrees Celsius for that swim. And in all cases, I still think that's it's good swim run weather, and we're expecting good weather on the day of the event. So there should be no problems with that. In terms of the experience, so experienced athletes will get to run in the Lost Lake area primarily, and they will swim in Lost Lake and then in the south end of Green Lake. And they're going to get to experience a whole bunch of the great single track that is in the Lost Lake area. This is an overlap area where the Xterra Whistler is. If you happen to want to come back in September and race Xterra Whistler, it shares the same trails, and the swim is in Lost Lake for that event as well. For the sprints, again, everybody starts off at the same run and the same swim number one, all three disciplines. From there, they're going to head south and start what will end up being 2 swims in Alta Lake, and then they will return back for a swim in Green Lake South as well. As Lars was mentioning, even in the sprint leg of the race, the last run segments, the last half of the course is actually very challenging. It's off-road. It's technical black and even double black diamond mountain bike trails. All very runnable, going to be super fun. You will very much enjoy the course. But yeah, leave some energy in the tank. Make sure that you have food and water with you. Stop at those aid stations and get what you need. It's not getting easier throughout the day, even for the sprint course. And then the World Series. So similarly, they head off from Lost Lake. They go do a swim in Alta Lake. They're going to continue heading south so that they can sample all of the lakes of Whistler Village. They will swim in Alpha Lake, swim in Nita Lake. They will come back again and swim a second and even a third time in Alta Lake. And then they're going to run all the way north, again, similar to the sprint athletes, but they're going to continue north and run or swim across Green Lake to a place called Parkhurst Park. If you haven't listened to the Low Tide Boys podcast that I was on a couple of months ago, you should. I gave a great explanation of Parkhurst. But Parkhurst is an old ghost town. It's a forestry town from 75, 80 years ago that's completely abandoned. There's old cars there now. In fact, the exit point of the swim is an old submerged dock and bulldozer that's literally falling into the side of Green Lake right now. So it's just a very, very cool location to start to run people back from. And you're going to run that. And again, it's a challenging 6 or 7K run, very undulating with spectacular mountain and glacier views all the way back to Spruce Grove to end your day.
It's really hard to put into words how amazing those views are on that last run, the Sea to Sky trail. It's breathtaking. And, coming out of that cold Green Lake swim, it doesn't take more than a couple of minutes to warm up because you're going straight uphill. So, Dale, that was a great explanation of it all. And, for most of you folks who may have been wondering, precision hydration, fuel, and hydration. That's what's out on the course at the aid stations. We have the gels, precision hydration gels, and then their 1,000 tabs, which is a pure electrolyte. It's not going to have any calories. So if you need calories, you're going to need to carry those with you throughout the course. But the pH gels are the gels that are out there. So.
And guys, just a
yeah,
quick,
they've been with us all along. So for those of you who have raced with us in the past, you know what they taste like.
and just a quick note on these course maps, guys. Now that we have a better grasp on all this, you're looking at our logistical map we use, which has, I was flashing on and off the experience and the sprint courses, and it looks a little confusing, but what I'm going to do in the next 24 hours up until when I share this with you guys, I will update the website so that there is a separate map for each, so it's not confusing and you can see exactly what your distance is. And that'll be easier. So just look for that. It won't be all combined like this. But anything else, guys?
No, that was really, really well said and really well stated. Yeah, I mean, Dale, I think the only thing that goes without saying is that Whistler is a destination for mountain bikes. And so when the heads up racing, that's not only for trail direction, but we are starting very early in the morning. So the likelihood of meeting up with a mountain biker, especially a downhill mountain biker, may not be that high of a likelihood, but just be staring up and just be knowing that there could be someone coming barreling down that mountain. You are the one who needs to get off the trail to the side for your safety and for that mountain biker's safety. The other part, we're swim runners. Wave, smile, say hi to people who are out on the trail. We want to leave a great impression, but we're so lucky to do this. So just make sure that we leave Whistler with a good feeling about what swim run is. Honestly, I don't think they know what swim run is still. And so come Monday morning, we want them to, be saying that was amazing. We didn't even know you were there. The people who we came into contact with were super friendly and we want you back. So, just be grateful that we're out here, that we get the opportunity to do this and, spread that love with everyone. If we did not give a great in-depth course preview, I would highly suggest going to Dale's interview with the Low Tide Boys. They spent about an hour just drilling into the course. Actually, I think they've done 2 episodes, one with Dale, one with Marcus. Go listen to those 2 episodes. Breadth of knowledge, and they really do a great job of prying into all the details of the course. So that is the Low Tide Boys. It's a podcast. It's about half an hour to an hour each one of those course previews. So go and listen to those. You won't be disappointed.
And just keep in mind when you listen to those guys that just apply whatever they say to this final or this updated course map I'll be posting. And then something else, if you've emailed me recently, or if you plan on emailing me, if you need to switch distances, if for whatever reason you can't do it and you want to defer or you want to go transfer to another race, you can do that yourself, but it's race week. So if you just email me, I can take care of most of you. We want you guys to be happy. We're not going to just hardline no to things. Most of the time, we'll work with you and find a solution. We really appreciate all of you as customers and athletes, and we want you to be part of this, whether it's this race or a different distance here or a different race this year. So yeah, just try to get that to me tomorrow if you're going to do that, because I fly out on Wednesday, and it's going to be hard to do that over the next 2 to 3 days after. So if you show up to packet pickup and you need to make a change, it's okay. I can make a change for you if you're there and you just need a distance that's different or whatever. That's fine. Don't panic. Don't get stressed. We'll take care of you. Dale, what did you want to say?
I was just going to say it's a good point what Lars mentioned about mountain bikers. So a number of the trails that we're on, single track trails, are primarily designated mountain bike trails. And in fact, we are going in the reverse direction of one or more of them. So it is definitely heads up racing. As with all of these swim runs events, I'm sure there are no road closures. There is nothing. So this is 100% open to the public. So we want to be friendly and note that there's going to be packs of tourists on e-bikes on valley trails, and we want to make sure that they're we're not getting hit by those or whatever. And, similarly, there could be packs of little kids out on single track trails getting mountain bike lessons throughout the day, things like this. When we're on some of the larger bodies of water, there could be people out on boats, primarily sailboats on most of the lakes. On Green Lake, there is mechanized boats, but again, there are designated areas on Green Lake as well. You'll note if you're in the south end of Green Lake, there is in fact a float plane launch point right there. We're not going to be swimming close to it, so that's no problem. But if you're really lucky, you're going to get to see a float plane take off or land while you're out in that area. So yeah, and we are running on some sidewalks and crossing roads. So if you are running on a road, we run on the left-hand side, opposing traffic. If we're crossing at a crosswalk, it's stop, look both ways, proceed when it's safe. And there is one intersection that will be blocked off for as athletes are running across it. Yeah, it'll be very obvious at the start of the race day, right in the main section of town. And we run right by the large Inukshuk, which is the welcoming symbol for Whistler. And so we've shut down that intersection so that everybody can keep their speed up and get across it safely.
And thanks, Dale, for the organization of all that you've done, but also the medical. We didn't really talk about that. We don't need to get in depth with it, but there is a medical team out there that's been organized, very professional. And then also some motorized boats that have been organized to be out on the lakes, and then some volunteers in kayaks and whatnot that'll be out there. So we always get questions like that. We definitely have some people out there to monitor the situation. But
yep, you may see people out on e-bikes on the course that are part of our medical team that'll just be roving in case they are needed or called to somewhere. And then, as you said, out on the various swim courses, on the larger bodies of water, we'll have a couple of boats out, and on the smaller bodies of water, a number of volunteers on subs or kayaks.
And folks, do keep in mind, just this is drilling back to the essence of swim run. This race and you knowing where the course is your responsibility. It's not the responsibility of our volunteers. And so if you get to a dock to get into the entrance of a swim, take a minute, like literally take a minute and locate. We're going to have a sign that is going to point it with an arrow in the direction you're supposed to be swimming. Take that minute to focus on where you're going to be swimming towards. That volunteer, they may have just showed up there about an hour before. They may not know the course that we've laid out for you. So it's your responsibility to look at the signage that we've laid out, to make that determination, and then to go. We lay out the course signage. We rarely have an issue. And again, ask a fellow competitor if they're there as well to help you out. So, but just take the responsibility for yourself. We're not on bikes here, so we're not moving at 30 miles an hour. We're on 2 feet. You got time.
All right, is that it? Are we good to close this out?
Yeah, happy Canada Day, and then happy 4th of July. Happy, it's National Holiday Week here. So, folks, can't wait to see you guys in Whistler. Remember your passports if you're traveling from the U.S. We do have about 50 participants, Canadians, who are racing, which is amazing. The rest are from the U.S., a couple of Swedes coming over. Someone coming over from French Polynesia, which is amazing. It's about 50-50 males, females, which is awesome. Love seeing that split. I think swim run's leading the way with just women who know how to suffer out there, which is amazing. So yeah, can't wait to see you guys and kick off the North American season. And hey, I got to take a minute. How good does my business partner Aaron Pallion look? Aaron he's been doing the work in the off season. He's lost about 40-50 pounds. Aaron, you look amazing. 70 pounds. That's amazing. And he's going to be racing at Mackinac Island with you guys this year. So yeah, just super proud of you, man. And can't wait to see you guys.
Thanks, Lars. Appreciate that. Yeah, can't wait to see you guys. And I guess that's it. So safe travels, and we will see you soon. Thanks, Dale. See ya.
Okay. Ciao. Thanks, Dale.
Thank you. All right.